Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be repotting my absolutely massive philodendron moonlight. This is like one of my first rare plants. I feel like I see that way too often. But when I first got into like buying plants online and like rare varieties, I went a little crazy and bought a lot all at once, so that's why I often say that. But the moonlight is one of my favorite plants, and my original one actually died off about a year ago when I moved, and the sun is really bright. I'm not sure if it's going to ruin the lighting or not. There might be some shadows cast over me, I'm sorry. But yeah, my moonlight is over here. This plant, just to give you an idea of how massive it is. So this was a plant that I actually got for free as well, because I had entered, I guess it's not really local, but in another province very close to me, we had kind of like a day trip out to it. Well, more specifically, I hijacked the day out to it. Anyway, long story short, I had a friend coming from the UK to visit, and we had made plans to go across the Link, which is the largest man-made bridge over ice-covered water. It's kind of a big tourist attraction. I don't know, it was one of the things we wanted to do while he was here visiting, so we did that, and we were gonna go to Halifax, which is a really big city, just a province over from us, and they have like really big shopping malls. We're very boring here. We were trying to like brainstorm things that we could do, and honestly it was tough because everything seems so boring here. Like, most people travel to other provinces to do fun stuff. Like, we don't have any huge theme parks or anything like that. We're very like country going, and we do things like, for example, we had our like farm day in the city, and we had Dundas plowing match, which is literally what it sounds like. It's a bunch of rural traditional fairs, little fairs and stuff. But yeah, while he was here, we had plans to go to Halifax, and we were going to take the Link, which requires you to go through New Brunswick, which is another province. So there's 3 provinces we were going to be traveling through in one day. And I guess I underestimated how long of a drive it was going to be, because I had put the marker for where we were going at a greenhouse in New Brunswick, thinking we would have time to still go to Nova Scotia. We didn't, spoiler alert. It took us hours, and we ended up missing our boat back to the island on top of that. It was a really big mess. I felt really bad. I still feel really bad, but also it's kind of a funny story to tell now. And basically that greenhouse was the only stop we got to make that day. The rest of it was spent driving back and forth, because it was so out of the way, and I totally underestimated it. But this is what I ended up getting, and it was a giveaway for a gift certificate, and so when I went to pick up the gift certificate, this is the guy I ended up picking out to purchase. And I'm trying to see if I can get the lighting better. That's way worse, I think. This is basically what I ended up getting. So I'm gonna pause and check the footage to make sure it's not completely unwatchable first. I guess just kind of the way the root system is, it's a very like wide pot if you look at it, but it's very short, and I'm finding it really difficult to find a pot that will support the circumference of the roots without being so deep that I'm concerned about root rot happening because of all the extra soil. So ultimately what I decided to do is I'm going to pull it apart and divide it up into separate plants so that I can put them into smaller pots and make it a bit more manageable, and I'm hoping it's also going to look a little bit better, and like it has more of its own kind of space going on. So that's what I'm going to do right now, is pull this apart. So this is kind of the root ball we're working with. I'm going to kind of cut and pull through it, and I'll repot it up in some fresh soil. So what I like to do is just kind of let the soil completely dry out when I repot. And if you look at these little green beads here, this is actually like little slow release fertilizer balls. I don't use these personally, but I've used Newt, I've used liquid dirt, or what I'm using right now is foliage focus. So I let mine dry out because I find it's easier to just kind of crumble the dirt away from the roots, and I end up doing a lot less damage by doing that. And these roots are actually very fine. They're not very like chunky, and they're quite dry because I let it dry out a bit too much. So I'll give it a good drink when I'm done, and hopefully we don't have any die off, but I suspect we may lose a leaf or two. If not in the repotting process because of the massive size, then very likely due to stress and acclimating it. This is a very chunky mixture, which is what I like to personally work with as someone who is a typical overwaterer. Just trying to fix. So I'm just massaging the root ball until I get the majority of the soil pulled away from the roots. So I'm just massaging it so that it kind of falls apart, and I'm not going to pull anything apart yet. I'm just massaging and letting whatever's going to fall off. So you can kind of see where the two separate plants are kind of breaking apart right here. So likely what's going to happen as I get this dirt separated more is this guy is just going to pull straight off of the mother plant, or the biggest part of the plant, and we're literally just going to divide the smaller sections off of the larger sections. So right there, I did lose a bit of roots from doing that, but this is the baby plant, and there's actually an even smaller baby plant on there too, but I think I'm going to leave them in there so it stays nice and bushy. And this is kind of the root situation we are working with now. And then, just to give you an idea, this is the mother plant, which is absolutely massive. And I think I'm going to leave, I could do another separation with this tiny little piece in here, but I think I'm going to leave it together again, just so that I have a nice full bushy pot. So I'm not going to mess with the roots any more than I already have. I'm going to leave it as is and just pot it up with a little bit of the old soil, which is fine. I think this one's going to be too small for the big one. If I remove a little bit more of the soil, it might work okay. At least for now. Okay, so that fits in there kind of okay. So I think that's what I will do with the big one. Ideally, I will have to get a bigger pot because this one isn't great. but for the time being, it will be fine in here. And then I'm just using my own soil that I make myself down here, which is just a super chunky mix, kind of similar to what we just pulled it out of, but it is fresh, so I am going to use the fresh stuff. And now I'm just going to give the pot a shake to try and help the soil settle in down to the bottom, and then I can add more on top. So as you can tell, it's kind of loose in there, so I'm going to add more soil. As you can see, it's kind of has a bit of a wobble on it, so I want to make sure it's good and secure in the pot by making sure that there's enough soil on top and down good roots, so that, and when you have a good amount to hold it in place, it shouldn't wiggle or fall over when you shake it. So that's this guy done. Now I'm going to do the smaller one, which I am kind of tempted to remove this baby one, but you know what, I think I am going to. There, we just made one plant into 3 plants. How to get 3 plants. And now we have this tiny little baby one. That I'll probably just put in here, honestly. I'm actually going to pot it up into this transparent little cup first. And there we have cute little baby philodendron moonlight. Next, I'm going to give them all a very thorough drink. Keep them more moist than usual, just so that the roots have a chance to kind of recover and rehydrate after being pulled apart and stressed. There's that one. So now we have to find somewhere to put them. Ignore my desperately in need of water plants over here. It's on the list for today. So, I have this guy sitting here, which I think I might leave him there. I kind of like him there. I do have to reorganize the shelf a little bit, and I need to clean up. That's why there's soil all over the floor. I've been filming videos and repotting for about a week now. So, and then over here, items off of the shelf, it's looking pretty bare and empty. And that's because I moved them into my IKEA cabinet over here. And so now I need to fill out this shelf, which leads me to want to leave this guy up here, maybe in a corner, like that. I think that looks, nah, I'm gonna turn it, I think, a bit more. I think I'll leave it there like that. And then another thing I want to put up there is this Hoya Wayedii, or not Wayedii, Hoya Shipudii, or Longifolia. It's going kind of wild, so I might need to do a little bit of a trim. Yeah, that's definitely not the final product, but it's where it's gonna go for now. And then this little guy, I'm probably just gonna stick on one of these lower shelves at the front. I'm gonna put him in there for now, just so that he can drain a bit better. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.